Probably ever since game existed, there's been one universal rule: beat your enemy and stay alive. Over the years, different games gave us different ways to do it. Block and attack, like in action games. Dodge, where moving outside of range of opponents gives opportunity to escape or counterattack. Jumping around, not only to get to higher platforms, but also defend low attacks or bullets. Blocking has also more refined mechanics, like parrying, where it's all about timing and reflexes. Fighting games like Tekken also had semi-automatic blocking, but there's one mechanic that completely changed the way we think about surviving a fight. The cover system. Cover system is basically all about leaning out from behind the cover to shoot and then ducking back in. Sounds simple now, right? But it completely changed range combat in video games. Without it, firefights look like two guys standing in the middle of the street, shooting each other in the face, hoping for the best. Today I wanted to show you the idea behind cover systems, where they came from and how they work. Back on the original PlayStation, stealth games like Metal Gear Solid experimented with hiding. But it wasn't really about surviving gunfire, it was more about sneaking past enemies undetected. That being said, even back then you could pull off cool tricks, like knocking on walls to distract guards. It was immersive for sure, but still a far cry from what we would call a true cover system today. Then came a PS2 era. Game exploded visually and mechanically, but when it came to third-person cover system, we still didn't get much of a revolution. GTA San Andreas let it crouch behind cover, but it wasn't a real system, more like an additional usage of crouch mechanic. Metal Gear was doing its thing, but it lacked that dynamic movement. Snapping in the cover, moving around it, quick peeks, tactical reloads. FPS games like Black offered tactical shooting, but without a proper cover system. It was more about reflexes than strategy. For a proper cover system, we have to wait for Xbox 360. Gears of War changes everything in case of way how we playing shooters. It has Chainsaw, Locust Horde, and of course Marcus Phoenix, main protagonist of the game, released from prison and thrown straight into the fight against the Locust. Released on November 7, 2006 by Epic Games. And it made massive impact not just with its gritty settings, brutal combat and iconic chainsaw, but with its cover system. In Gears, you could snap the cover, move along it, lean out of fire, shift cover with a button press, and sprint between cover points. It had everything you needed from tactical firefights against the enemy. And it kicked off the rise of what we now call cover-based shooters. Gears basically created a whole new subgenre. After Gears' success, the gaming industry fell in love with cover systems. GTA 4 introduced Niko Bellic, and this time he didn't just crouch, he could fully snap to surfaces and move along them. But we'll get back to this a little later. Then there was Killzone 2, Spec Ops: The Line, all bringing their own spin on cover mechanics. Vanquish built much of its gameplay around cover mechanics. But I'll be honest, I don't know the game super well, I've only played a first mission. You play as Sam, a super soldier caught in the middle of the futuristic resource war. The cover system feels similar to Gears, but I got the sense it was missing a few key features. For example, Moving between covers didn't let you smoothly transition to the next one. Instead, the character does a somersault and ends up exposed in the open. It kills a bit of the tactical vibe. The game makes up for it with a really fast, fluid movement. It didn't hook me up on the first try, but I definitely plan to give it another shot. GTA 4 wasn't just a shift in tone from light-hearted gangster stories to a more serious take on betrayal, immigration, and the American dream. It also evolved mechanically. We got more realistic driving system, totally different from the arcade feel of Vice City, San Andreas. And following in Gears' footsteps, Nico learned how to properly use cover, unlike CJ, could only crouch without really sticking to anything. And the last one, Deus Ex Human Revolution, and Mankind Divided, which expanded the system even further. You play as Adam Jensen in first person, but when you approach cover, the camera smoothly switches to third person. It's a unique experience that blends immersive sim elements with tactical cover gameplay. Fun fact, in first person view the character model isn't fully rendered, just the hands and the gun. But when you enter cover, a full character model appears, like the same one used in the cutscenes. Finally, a little bonus from me, let's talk about my own cover system, which I've been building in Unreal Engine 5. Massive thanks to UE5 Poseidon for his tutorials. They really helped me understand how this works under the hood. If you want to build your own cover system or any other locomotion system in Unreal, take a look at his YouTube channel. He has a lot of tutorials about that. Link in the description. My system is still a prototype. I used C++ and a bit of blueprints, but here I want to focus on how it actually works rather than the technical details. Conceptually, it's heavily inspired by Deus Ex. You can move along cover, switch to nearby cover, sprint to other cover points. I am still working on aiming and lean out to fire, but pretty much all the basics you would expect. Of course, there are a few bugs, like the character sometimes freezing up at edges, which I'm still working on fixing. I really wanted to recreate that third-person cover system for a first-person character, just like Deus Ex did. I think their system is one of the most tactical out there, especially for slower paced games. My setup relies on traces. For example, when the character reaches the edge of cover, a tracer checks if there is another cover nearby, allowing a smooth transition. If no cover is detected, you can manually select a point to sprint to, as long as it's within range. The system constantly checks for wall contact every tick using traces, updating the state dynamically. There's also a set of traces that checks whether the cover height changes, so the character can automatically crouch when needed. Cover systems have become a core part of modern gaming, even evolving into automatic systems like we see in The Last of Us. Personally, I think they add a ton of depth and give you multiple ways to tackle combat scenarios. Without them, firefights would still look like they did in the original Resident Evil, which has its charm, and I'm fan of the old school feel. But let's be real, it's pretty clunky by today's standards. Once again, big thanks to UE5 Poseidon for his tutorials. Maybe after I fix a bug and polish the animation, I'll post an update video showing how it's coming along. Thanks for watching.